You couldn't pay me enough to go to a Taylor Swift concert, John. What an idiot. Oh, hey guys. I didn't see you spying on me there. Just got a call from my buddy John, and he wanted me to go to a Taylor Swift concert. He said, I have free tickets. Mark, I got free tickets. I got a ticket for you. I want you to come to a Taylor Swift concert with me. And I was like, you couldn't pay me enough to go to a Taylor Swift concert. Do you know what that means? That's an advanced way in English to say that you would never do something. You can say, you couldn't pay me to do something. Or you can add the word enough. Okay, you couldn't pay me enough to do something. Now notice the word is couldn't, not can't. Okay, you have to say it this way. You couldn't pay me enough to... What's your answer? What would you never do? Maybe you just hate the idea, or you're afraid of something, or maybe something disgusts you. Okay, so the idea of going to a Taylor Swift concert, it just disgusts me. Okay, so what this phrase means is, even if you give me money, I won't go. You couldn't pay me enough. If you offer me $1,000, still not going. $1 million. No, you couldn't pay me enough. If you said, Mark, I will give you $1 billion to go to a Taylor Swift concert. Let's say you couldn't pay me enough. There's no amount of money I will take to do this. Okay? So what is something that you hate, or that just disgusts you, or that maybe you're afraid of, like for example, jumping out of a plane? You could say, you couldn't pay me to jump out of an airplane. You know, some people do that, right? Some people jump out of airplanes. They put on a little backpack thing and they jump out of a plane and they go, they plummet down to the earth. Plummet? There's a fly trying to ruin my video here, guys. So to plummet means to go straight down. People, they jump out of an airplane and they plummet to the earth. For what? Why do people do that? I don't know. Why do people do that? You could say, you couldn't pay me to jump out of a plane. I mean, you couldn't pay me enough, right? Even if you give me $1,000, I wouldn't jump out of a plane. $1 million, I wouldn't jump out of a plane. So sometimes we use this in a kind of an exaggerated way. It's just a phrase that means you really don't like something. It's not really literal, because in reality, if you were to pay me $1,000 to go to a Taylor Swift concert, I probably would take the money. I mean, I wouldn't enjoy the concert, but if you were to give me $1,000, that's a lot of money, right? I would take it. What about meeting a celebrity? Would you go, if you had a chance to go out for lunch with Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, or with, let's say, Donald Trump, or with another politician? Would you do that? Some politician. Would you do that? For me, if someone paid me $100 to go out for lunch with any of these politicians, I wouldn't do it. I have no interest. What would I do? Just make small talk with these guys? I don't like most politicians, guys. I wouldn't, if I could say, you couldn't pay me enough to go out for lunch with these, politicians. All of them, either side of the aisle, right? The aisle, both sides of the aisle, that's a phrase that means, well, it implies that the country has two parties. It's a two-party system, right? So, for example, in the US, they have Republicans and Democrats, and the middle is called the aisle. So, both sides of the aisle, if I say I would not go out for lunch with any politician on either side of the aisle, right? I don't know. In a lot of countries, there are only two parties. It's called a two-party system. So here in Canada, we have more than two parties, but in all of history, in the history of Canada, there have only been two parties that have won, or that have been the leaders. One is the Liberal Party, which is the current leadership. Justin Trudeau is the leader of the Liberal Party. The other one is the Conservative Party. When was the last time we had a conservative leader? That was Stephen Harper, probably 2014, maybe somewhere around there. So it's been almost 10 years. So Justin Trudeau has been the Prime Minister of Canada for about almost 10 years. Wow. It's a long time. So in all of Canadian history, we've only had two parties. So we can still use the same idiom here in Canada on either side of the aisle. Okay. How about in your country? In your country, is there like a two-party system? When I hear the news about other countries, right? Like Brazil, for example, there's one guy is Bolsonaro. The other guy is, what is it, Lula? I don't know how to pronounce these guys' names. So there's like two people. What other country, I don't know, in France, for example, I don't know much about French politics, but in France, the two people that I've heard of anyway in the news are Macron and Marine Le Pen, right? So again, there's two people there. Now maybe there's more parties that I don't know about. Let me know, in your country, are there two parties? Is it a two-party system? So when we talk about the aisle, an aisle is the place you walk in between the seats. Okay, so for example, on a plane, on an airplane, like a small airplane, there's an aisle, like let's say just like a 737, a Boeing 737 or something like that. You've got one aisle, three seats, and then an aisle in the middle. Now, on the wide body aircraft are bigger planes like a Boeing 767 or larger, Boeing 787. These big planes like an Airbus A350, A380, huge planes. They've got like probably two aisles, right? They've got like maybe three seats, an aisle, three seats, an aisle, and then three seats. Or maybe 2, 4, 2 in like the Airbus A330, maybe something like that, right? So those big planes are called wide body aircraft, and they have more than one aisle. And that's what the word aisle means. When people get married, the bride walks down the aisle, right? So if you hear some phrase in English where, walking down the aisle, that's probably referring to a wedding. Okay. Anyway, we veered off topic. What's the topic for this video? The topic is the phrase, you couldn't pay me enough. And so I'll try to stay on topic and not veer off topic, right? So what are some other examples we could say? Let's take food, for example. Let's imagine you really don't like a certain food. You could say, you couldn't pay me enough to eat that, right? Like a lot of people, they hate the idea of eating pineapple on pizza. The idea of pizza and like pineapple, it disgusts them. How about you? Do you like pineapple on pizza? There's a kind of pizza called a Hawaiian pizza. It's with ham and pineapple. You know, for most people, it's either you love it or you hate it. Some people love it, some people hate it. Actually, for me, I like it. I don't mind it. It's not my favorite. Probably it's not my favorite kind of pizza, but I don't mind it. It's good. You know. How about you? Would you eat it? Do you like that, or does it disgust you? You know, like, for a lot of people, just the thought of putting pineapple on pizza is like sacrilegious. You know what sacrilegious means? Sacrilegious means that something is very offensive. It offends you. It's like pizza is like this beautiful food. It's like a sacred food. The word sacred means kind of like holy. You know, it's so perfect. It's so amazing. And, you know, if you put pineapple on it, it's like sacrilegious. So the word sacrilegious means something extremely offensive to a religion. But we can also use this word sacrilegious in a non-religious context. Okay, so some people actually eat pizza religiously. All right, so, you know, some people eat pizza every day of their life. How about you? Do you eat pizza every single day? Some people eat pizza religiously. If you do something religiously, that means you really do it with a lot of, you're very serious about it, and you do it on a regular basis. For example, you could say, every morning I wake up at 5 a.m. and I go to the gym and I work out in the gym for an hour. Every morning. I go to the gym religiously. If you do that, that means you go to the gym religiously, right? Or let's say you're practicing, you're learning an instrument like the piano. You could say, you know, my son practices piano religiously for 4 hours every day. My son practices piano religiously, right? Because, I mean, he's serious about it. 4 hours a day, every day. It means you're religious about it, right? It's like something so serious that it's like a religion to you. What do you do religiously? Let me know down in the comments what you do religiously. Maybe you watch my videos religiously. If you watch my videos every day, or maybe you watch like 3 videos every day, you could say, Mark, I watch your videos religiously. Okay, it means do it every day. So if something is offensive to something you hold dear, something you hold sacred, maybe pizza, for example, then if something is like, if something ruins that thing, it's like sacrilegious. Okay, so you could say, you know, putting pineapple on pizza is sacrilegious. All right, it's like someone's ruining your religion, because the word sacrilegious is actually, it means doing something to offend your religion. Imagine your religion, right? People hold their religion as like the most important thing in their life. And imagine doing something that's just so offensive to your religion. Then that thing is sacrilegious. For example, have you ever heard of someone named Antiochus Epiphanes? Antiochus Epiphanes was a Greek king in 168 BC. Year 168 BC is probably like 2,100 years ago. Now, do you know anything about the Jews? Do you know anything about like the Jewish religion? One thing you might know is that they don't eat pork. Okay, they like pigs are like a dirty, like a pigs. Anyway, they can't have anything to do with pigs, right? Pigs are just out of the picture. There's no room for pigs in their religion. All right. So in the temple there in Jerusalem in 168 BC, this Greek king wanted to offend the Jews who were living there. And so he took a pig into their temple, right? The temple, the holiest place in Judaism, into the temple. And that king sacrificed the pig on their altar in the temple. Like, that's the most sacrilegious thing you could ever do. Let me know, what is the most sacrilegious thing someone could ever do in your religion? Let me know down in the comments. So in Judaism, right, you've got the holiest place, the temple. And this Greek king wanted to offend the Jews. And so he took a pig into the temple and sacrificed it. That event was extremely sacrilegious, right, to the Jewish faith, to the Jews. Anyway, that's what sacrilegious means, right? So if we think about a pizza, some people, they eat pizza religiously. They love it. They do it every day. And it's something very special to them. And so if they think about putting pineapple on pizza, you know, maybe they feel like it's sacrilegious. But the other people, obviously, other pizza lovers love pineapple. I don't know. So there's this, like, you know, completely different opinion regarding pineapple on pizza. What's your decision? You know, like I said, for me, actually, I don't really care. It's not sacrilegious to put pineapple on pizza. I mean, you could put anything on pizza. I probably wouldn't care. There's a kind of dessert called fruit pizza. Have you ever heard of that? A fruit pizza, where it's actually not real pizza. It's like just a dessert with like fruit. I don't know. You know, but anyway, let's get back to our topic. We veered off again. To veer off means you leave the topic. Let's get back. No more talking about Greek kings in history. Let's stick to the topic of... What is our topic? I totally forgot what the point of this video was. What is the point of this video, guys? I completely forgot. Oh yeah, something about Taylor Swift. You couldn't pay me enough. That's the word, okay? So you couldn't pay me enough. Or you couldn't pay me to do something. What are some things? Give me some examples down in the comments. What are some things that you would never do? And you can say, you couldn't pay me to something. Okay, now there was a show back when I was in high school called Fear Factor, and it was with Joe Rogan. It was hosted by Joe Rogan, who was a very famous, what would you call Joe Rogan? A podcast. He's got the world's most famous podcast called the Joe Rogan Experience, I think. So anyway, but back in the day, like, I don't know, back when I was in high school, Joe Rogan had a show called Fear Factor. And in this show, the point of the show was that, you know, people had to do things that they were very afraid of. And I think in each show there were 3 things that they had to do. And in the winner, whoever won that episode got an amount of money. I can't remember how much money it was. So one of the things they had to do was eating some weird insects, like eating a spider or eating some worms or something just disgusting, like a cockroach. I remember one episode they need to eat these like giant Madagascar cockroaches. I think it was like these cockroaches that are just massive, like that big. I guess in some parts of the world they have huge cockroaches. Like normal cockroaches are maybe like that big, right? But these, I think they're called giant Madagascar cockroaches. I don't know, maybe you can Google it. But they were like massive. And they had to eat, I think they had to, whoever ate the most of, I can't remember the details, guys, but it's just disgusting. Like, would you ever eat a cockroach? I can't even imagine eating a cockroach, guys. I would literally rather eat, I would never eat a spider or a cockroach. Those are the two insects that are just, you couldn't pay me to eat a cockroach or a spider. How about you? Would you take money? Could someone pay you like $1 million to eat a spider or a cockroach? Anyway, so this show is called Fear Factor. They had to do different things that, you know, that made them afraid. And very often they had to do with like heights or water or, you know, any kind of situation that usually, you know, makes people scared. But yeah, so, you know, this phrase, you couldn't pay me enough, it reminded me of that show because the point of that show was to pay people money, to pay the winner money for doing all those things, right? I think the first, I can't remember, I think there were 3 rounds. One was eating something disgusting. One was something to do with some physical component, like being really high or jumping off a building or I don't know, something like that. I can't remember it's been years. It's been a long time since I was in high school, guys. So I can't remember exactly about what that show all entailed. But man, what shows did you watch when you were in high school? What was your favorite show when you were in high school? It's a long time ago. But anyway, so this is just a phrase it's very useful. You can use it in, like, it's pretty informal. You could say, you could tell your friend, you know, you couldn't pay me enough to go to a certain country, maybe going to a certain country really scares you. Or maybe it just seems disgusting to you. Maybe you think of it as really dirty or disease-ridden. Something ridden means it's full of it. Okay. Like you could say, my bed is ridden with bed bugs. Bed bugs are these little bugs that bite you at night. They live in your bed. They're called bed bugs. Do you have bed bugs? Or if your hair is ridden with lice. Maybe you have these little bugs called lice in your hair. You know, and you can use the word ridden. Ridden, it's not usually a good word. So if a country is like ridden with, if a country is ridden with disease, it's probably not a country that you want to go to. Right? Some countries people think of as just completely ridden with disease. You couldn't pay me enough to go to that country. Okay, so anything you don't like or anything you would never do, you can use this phrase. Okay, you couldn't, remember it's the word couldn't, not can't. You couldn't pay me to attend a Taylor Swift concert, or you couldn't pay me enough to attend a Taylor Swift concert. So anyway, guys, that's it for today. Hope you learned something new. Hope your country's not disease-ridden. Anyway, let me know what things you would never do down in the comments. I'm kind of curious to know. So hope you're doing great. As always, I love you so much. And as always, I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.